Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's change. All right. This is Freedom Phil. What am I talking about today? There's this sort of quasi-paradox when it comes to America. You know, what's good, what's bad? Because I run into this too a lot. Like, the problems of America, if you really push past what you're, kind of forced into in society, it's not really real. And yet the unreal becomes reality for a lot of people. As where what's actually real gets completely ignored. Where am I going with this? Well, this is Freedom Phil. Like, subscribe. Let's get into it, and always turn up the video speed. I've lived a myriad of different weird lives. Lived in the woods for 4 years. Took care of a ranch briefly at one point. Nothing big, just maintaining the fences, feeding the horses. Lady had a back issue. I was garbage man for a number of years when I was living in a van. That's how I paid off this house, by the way. Then I drove truck all over the country. I won't say I have a massive worldly experienced existence, but I have a very large national, lower 48 experienced existence. And I've lived different or weird long enough to know that there's other ways to be and do. And sometimes I totally get why people become hermits. Not like they're like vile people or anything like that. Just like, what if the world's really bringing nothing much to your life that's really meaningful or that great? What if your own, garden or little homestead is enough? Whether you have a family or it's just you and a dog. What if just being is enough? I've noticed a tendency when it comes to a lot of different social platforms and whatnot, that truth and reality does not prosper. It doesn't. Anything that could actually truly improve yourself gets almost no play. Sweet candied nonsense gets pushed to the front, It's understandable. It's what people want. Broccoli, eat your broccoli. No, I don't want to. You want ice cream? I want ice cream. I totally get it. But, I just sit back and I look at a lot of it and I'm like, when I listen to, for instance, a bunch of activists complaining, like, men are this, and then, of course, you get the other side, women and me. It's like some of it's real, some of it's not. There are legitimate issues. But for the most part, I think a lot of issues are only issues because people basically, we've been told they're issues. And we're told, hey, there's the it thing, follow this. And the same thing with fashion trends, food, whatever. Like when people are like, I would never eat the bugs. There are people who said the same thing about potatoes ages ago, and how many people are like, yeah, French fries, or a baked potato. What you believe, what you do, what you are is mostly, for the most part, sad to say with a lot of you, merely a construct of what you've been instructed to be, programmed to be. So, no offense when I say this, most of you have never actually used your mind, really thought, really explored, really done shit with your lives. Most of you will live your lives thinking that if you make it to 65 and retire with a paid off house, you've won. I have to laugh my ass off about it. When I've said before, retirement by 30, that's pretty almost, people treat that line of thinking like it's hate speech. I'm not even kidding. Because I watch what prospers. And I can't help but feel like the Legend of Habakkuk, where it's like trying to do the impossible. Seeing the rot and the corruption and trying to hold it back, like looking at God and saying, I'm not religious, but looking at God and saying, how, why? Because it's so fucking easy to win. All you got to do is not play their game. Ender's Game told you the way to win the Ender's Game is not to play. And the more people that start playing, Like start being like, I'm not going to go into debt. I'm not going to, basically buy a bunch of excess shit that I don't need. Like I'm going to save the money and invest and put it towards something making me money. The more people that do that, the less the system has you by the balls. Every individual that does that makes the entire collective better. So for all you socialists, if you all got your shit together, the world would be a better place. But let's be honest, the reason that's so hard is, once again, it's like broccoli versus ice cream. The socialist tells you, well, I'll give you the ice cream now. Don't worry about brushing your teeth. Don't worry about who's paying for it. Don't worry about if it makes you fat. Don't worry if you don't even get enough nutrition to feel like like you're living. As where I'm trying to be like, hey, here's the vegetables and the eggs and the things you need to live. I don't want that. Our social issues, to some degree, in my opinion, have replaced religion. Politics have replaced religion to some degree. Sports have replaced religion. I'm not a religious person, but I could see when people all had a cohesive belief, it actually helps. And I don't want to see everybody having to believe in all the same things. But you could see where cultures and people were more, I don't know how to put this, but like where you'd see small, that's what I was talking about this, how back in the day, if you lived in a small town, there'd be little get-togethers and festivals occasionally. There's less and less of that. There's less reason to actually know you. Like they talk about how ages ago, it was pretty normal. You knew who all your neighbors were. Now everybody's this little atomized, isolated thing. Unless you're part of some sort of Kabbalah or group, like you're this denomination or that denomination. And I see that on the internet as well. It's almost like we've been programmed to constantly fight meaningless fights. I know this because when I was in the wasteland, it was like a complete obliteration of what is normal and real for society. I don't know, it's kind of hard to make that line make sense there, but there's nothing, there's no one. There's just you and your thoughts. You, a dog, and occasionally a cat-sized fox that shows up at night looking for food. Cute little fuckers. I've had the same effect when I was up there in the wilderness. In the 4 years I lived in the woods. Same effect. And that whole thing of like, is it what's real, what's not real, that really comes into it. Like if you've ever dug a bucket of clams or picked mussels, that's completely real. You ever grown a garden and grown your own food? That's fucking real. Then you turn on the TV and you see a bunch of people fighting for causes that aren't real. It's complete fake astroturf. And you see what gets promoted, to the top generally, and it's fake astroturf bullshit. It's just rage baiting. It's like almost like what they've done with food at the grocery store. Like our social causes are just like what they've done with food, where it's so fake, so manufactured, just enough sugar, just enough salt, and a bunch of preservatives to make sure that it sticks around forever. Like it has a radioactive shelf life. And for those who don't know what I mean by that, look up the trees in Chernobyl. How this many decades later, the trees they're still sitting there and they haven't rotted. Because it's so radioactive, and now they're starting to have like weird funguses that are actually consuming the radioactive material. It's kind of a beautiful thing that eventually, no matter how bad you screw things up, nature will eventually consume it and recycle it back into itself. But that's the way, like with the food and our culture, it's so fake and manufactured that it can never go bad, but it's not really real, it's not nutritious, it's not anything. But if you sit back and think for a second, and it's like you take yourself and you build yourself like a psychological, spiritual, mental, like stab it into the ground grounding rod. And it basically acts as a lightning bolt thing to take all that shit and suck it into the ground. And then there's just you and your thoughts. And you come back to the reality of like, yeah, America is a country where if you apply yourself, you can work like driving truck. I always recommend that because it's a free apartment on wheels. I mean, why would you pay rent if you don't have to? And I get it. A lot of you low IQ individuals. I'm not trying to be rude, but I meet people from the third world that come over here and do my job, and they're doing better than a lot of first worlders. They're higher IQ than me. And I meet these people, and it's just a simple tactical plan. Work hard, save your money, invest when you're young, and let your money make you money. There's nothing stopping any of you from doing that. Going while you're still in high school, going to a trade school, while you're young, live with your parents, live with some buddies, live in a van, live whatever, how you have to do it. But saving the money and basically investing when you're young so your money starts making you money. What's stopping you? And the answer is ultimately you. Your own mind, your psyche, your desire for acceptance, all these bullshit social causes that tell you constantly it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Did it ever occur to you, the people that tell you it's not your fault, are they somehow benefiting from keeping you weak? Fat acceptance. I'm a lard ass. I've lost like 70 pounds, I think. But like, they tell you, oh, beautiful at any size. That's bullshit. You know it. They know it. But they tell you that because that keeps you right where you're at. Maybe makes you weaker than them, which makes them look better than you. God forbid you go out there and do something with yourself, make something yourself, get better shape, make money, save money. You get these guys that are pussy hounds. They spend their whole life chasing after a warm, wet hole. And then they bemoan, oh, she was this, she was that. You were the one walking right into that Venus flytrap. You were like, oh, consume me, baby. But what if you just made different decisions? And it turned out that all the problems that were mostly, we choose to be afflicted with these problems. And it gives us a group think. We can all be just like religion. Religion repeats itself even without the spirituality or anything. That mentality, that herd mentality, us versus them, it's not our fault. Sometimes it literally isn't your fault. But I'd say probably over 95% of the shit or more in your life was probably your fault. It came down to some point, if you just calculated, if I hadn't made that decision then, or let's just say, if I had changed that tire when I saw the bulge, I wouldn't have been in the situation where it blew out and I got late to work, get fired. Something simple like that. Most of your problems can be solved before you even get to it. Why were you raised in poverty? Because your parents were fuck-ups. They were selfish people. Did you repeat the cycle? Did you afflict your kids with the thing you grew up with? Why are you so dependent off the government? Because you're fucking lazy. Maybe stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Stop obsessing with the whole idea that, look at my neighbor's car, or look at what they have. It's a very easy country to win in. But if you get stuck in that whole, honestly, loser's mindset of it's everybody's fault but me, then yes, America will really suck for you. Even though you still have it really good, even if you're a complete failure, free food, free this, free that, you will live a miserable, crappy life. But America is such a big, vast, beautiful place where if you just stop thinking the way you were trained to think and actually start doing for yourself, oh yeah, you'll have a good time. But I'm just kind of meditating some thought. Anyhow, peace.